Welcome back to Hillbillies, y'all. In this episode, we're going to show you how to go from this to this, using pieces from a donor car, fabricating some of our own pieces, knocking out the ugly, making room for the new. Stick around, I think you're going to like this one. Okay guys, so here's going to be our plan for the day. We've got our quarter fitment well. The trunk gaps are pretty good, door gaps are good. Got it lined up pretty good along the old roof skin. So we're going to start addressing some of the rust issues we have along the inner structure all around through here. Now we do have a few pieces from a donor car. I've taken a couple of pieces and already cleaned them up. Drilled the spot wells, peeled the old outer skin off, and got those ready to start fitting and welding in. This is the piece. If you look right here, you've got the little bolt hole. And this is the piece that's going to replace that one in that area. We have this piece that's going to continue from that and go on up to our corner. And then we have a third piece that's going to kind of take care of all this up through here. Now I've not touched this piece yet. I saved it. We'll take it over to the vise here in a little bit. We'll get our spot wells drilled out, get this piece cleaned up, and I'll just show you the steps that I went through to get these donor pieces ready to go in. While we're here, we've also got some rust down in this area. So it's rusted through here. Got rust along through here, back here. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to fill this whole, drill these spot welds out, drill this whole piece off, because I do have some rust back here in this seam. So I want to get all that cleaned up, get it addressed. I've got some rust up in here that I want to get cleaned up and addressed, and then there's some down in here. So that's going to be the plan for this episode. Hope you guys stick around. Hope you enjoy. Hope you learn something. And let's get busy. Alright guys, so we've got our old quarter pulled off. We've got our patch pieces clamped in place. So, and then we've come back with our scribe and we've scribed a line along right where these patch pieces set in. Now we'll go back, pull these off, and we're going to leave probably about a 1/16 to an 1/18 of an inch above our line, so then we can come back and kind of sneak up on it, make sure we get that perfect fit up through there before we start welding it all back in. But the great part about this is we got some great places to line up to. We've got this piece here where I think one of the trim screws go in here, and then we've got a spot up here where the ground wire for the rear defrost hooks up to. So gives us a couple of real good spots to line up to. So we'll come back, get this cut out, and start fitting our patch pieces back in. One of the most important things you can do when you're taking these cars apart, cutting them apart, if you notice when I was doing that, I was taking my cutoff wheel and just barely nicking the surface each time till I found the other side of the metal till I cut all the way through. And the reason for that, if you look in this area back here, if we would just went in with our cutoff wheel and tried to do that all in one cut, we would end up cutting our inner panel here. We're going to do the same thing back here in the back. So we just take our cutoff wheel and we'll just barely keep going over that till we cut all the way through that outer panel and try to stay out of our inner panel as much as we can. So anytime you're cutting these apart, be sure to take your time, watch what you're doing. A lot of times you can actually see when you cut through that panel and see the next layer, you'll actually see the rust start flying out. See if you're going, slow enough through the panel. We're going to keep on cutting and we'll be back. Okay guys, there's your little bit better view of it. You saw how we kind of snuck up on it. We cut wide over our line and took our grinder, went back and kept tweaking it in. So maybe got just a little bit wide right here, but this up here will all fit good, and we can still do a little tweaking and grinding on it as we weld it in. But overall, pretty happy with the fitment of everything. We'll come back, we'll grind this down now, get the rust treated and get it stopped. And be ready to start welding that piece of it in. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and address this issue down here. It's actually worse than what I even thought. All this is gone back here. I know this is probably not supposed to lap all the way around. We can look at that other side over there to see. We're going to cut this little filler out on the deck and start addressing some of those issues before we weld this back in, while we still got room to get in here, because we got spot welds along this side that'll be a lot easier to cut out. And we'll probably get this removed and then continue on with this, and we'll address the rust on this and get it welded back in at a later time. So hope you're enjoying what you see. Stick around and we're going to get that panel cut out. Alright guys, bringing you along. We got all of our filler panel spot welded in. I got to go back, grind a few little spots on it, smooth it down. We got our patch piece over here, finished fitting it, got it tacked into place. It's fitting up really nice. So once we finish welding it, get it ground in, it'll look really well. And then we're going to move on to this piece up here, get it fit, and then we'll be ready to start on around the top. So we'll be back when we got a little more progress. Alright, we're getting our piece back here spot welded in. We just welded a little bit and let it cool. So while we was letting it cool, went ahead, took our next piece, laid it up there, scribed a line around where it goes. Then I always cut it, I leave just about a 1/16 of an inch that above my scribe line, and then I come back with a grinder and just start easing up on it until, you know, we get the fit that we want. We got all this fitting pretty good. It's just going to take a little hammer and dolly work up here. This is where, when they stamp it, this metal stretches and bunches up, and it's not, everyone doesn't bunch up exactly the same, so it's a little different. But we can take our hammer and dolly that in place as we weld it in there. I think it'll be just fine. So fitting pretty good overall. I'm going to keep spot welding and cooling and grinding, and we'll get you an update once we get it wrapped up. Alright guys, there it is. We're all welded in now. Got both of these pieces in. All this in here welded up. So now we're going to start on this area across the back of the car. So I've already marked this out and kind of scribed me a line. I'm going to go ahead and cut this roof skin since it's getting a new roof skin. That way it gives us plenty of access to get in here and put these two pieces together. But we got to watch this, because this is where the inner structure kind of comes out. I think I'm going to try to go in. Looks like I may have enough room to go in right behind that on this inner piece without having to go in and cut into any of this. But if we do, it's going to be there. It's going to be exposed. So we'll get this roof skin cut and we'll start fitting our repair panel. So what we did, we just went and cut a section out of our repair panel. It's going to cover all this area here. So we got it laid up in here. Then we took a scribe. I always like using a scribe because it's a line that, you know, if you use a soapstone or marker or something like that, you run the risk of of burning it off, knocking it off. This is scratched into the metal, so it lasts a lot longer. It's a more durable mark. Plus, it's a lot smaller mark. I don't know if you can see or not, but it's right across through here. And we'll cut down about a 1/16 inside our line and come back with the grinder and start grinding it down and fitting our piece so we can get the best fit out of it. So we'll work on that and be back. Alright guys, there it is. We got it fitting up pretty good. So as you saw, we just took and we made a cut about a 1/16 of an inch or so inside of where we want it to be up. Then we came back with our grinder and just kept grinding and fitting and grinding and fitting until we got the fit that we wanted. So may got just a little bit wide right here, but nothing can't be filled in with the welder. So overall came out pretty good. We're gonna get everything cleaned up, get it welded in place, and we'll move on to our next one. Alright, there it is, all welded up, ground down. Come out pretty good overall, especially since it was actually a piece that was supposed to go there. So I'm happy with it. We're going to get our roof skin peeled off, and we'll get all of this ground down, get it treated with a rust encapsulator, and be ready to start fitting our new roof skins. So, hope you all are enjoying the videos. Again, if there's anything that you want to see us do, throw it in the comments down below, and we'll try to get a video done on it. So stay tuned. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to start fitting our roof skin.